Hey guys, welcome back to Cool Conversations,
your favorite podcast on ice.
Today we have with us a couple that I know you guys will absolutely love if you don't already know them. And they share so much on their social media about relationships. They talk about so many things. So today, I am so excited to introduce to you Alexis and Brian.
Yeah. The Coles.
We're
happy to be here.
Family.
Happy to be here. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate it.
And we're excited.
It's really fun.
Yeah, I'm so
Yes.
excited. Well, you guys know, before we get into it, we have to do our icebreaker. So we'll see you on the ice. Basic glide. So I'm going to show you, this is a T position, and you're going to put your arms up just so you have, well, you can put either, well, because we're kind of tight. We'll put them up a little bit, and then you are going to bend your knees, push off of your right foot, and put pressure in the back, and then glide forward.
Okay.
You go first.
All right.
Yeah.
So push off which one?
So you're going to push off of your left. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got distance. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
You got this, babe.
There.
Right. Okay. Should I try again?
Yeah, you can try again. So you can actually do two in a row. So what you would do is you have this T position. You're going to push off of your left, and then you switch feet. You bring your feet back together, and then push on the other foot. So that's how that's called stroking?
Yep.
Yeah, stroking. So you're gonna push off of your left, and then you just continue push off of your right.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
1, 2. Yeah. And a stop.
You did it.
All right.
So all we're doing
Peter
is
will
we're
demonstrate for the class.
gonna use that right leg. You're gonna push off, and all we're doing is push, turn.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like
Yeah.
I can work with that.
Do you want some support? Peter can.
Let me just try to see if I can do it myself.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So push, turn. Okay. No, a little bit. Okay. I did not do that right. I don't.
So push
no,
off
I'm
that
not
right.
an example.
Use your hand like for momentum even, and you just push off and sweep.
Yes. Gives you.
Ooh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Baby, I think you got it. All right. Yeah.
Pow.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little competitive. I need to do it again. Okay, wait. Okay, I'm pushing off.
Yeah, you're gonna push off of your left, and you're only gonna stay on your left foot, and you're gonna start in that T position again. And when you push, you're gonna turn from forward to backwards. You can use your arms to help you.
Okay.
Nice.
Forward.
Yes.
Backwards.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you
Okay.
Okay,
go.
kind of did it.
Yeah.
I want to work on it.
And back. Ooh.
Oh.
This guy's ready for a jump. Yep.
Yeah. Ready? Okay. What is he ready for? You gonna tell him?
You gonna do the double axel? Yeah.
I'm ready to twist and turn in the air.
I'm nervous for you. Are you serious?
Glide, we push off, glide, pow, triple, right?
That's definitely a wall strap.
I know it's not. I've seen enough to know. I think that's a twist.
You guys ready to try the wall strap?
I'm down.
Yeah. Okay.
I think Brian is ready. I don't know if I'm there yet.
Yeah. Peter, do you want help? He'll give you a little hand.
Yeah.
Okay, and hop.
Change.
There you go. We have.
Okay,
Yep.
so keep my stance.
Yes.
Yes. And
Push
hop
off.
backwards. Yes.
Oh!
Was that it?
There was some air time.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we get into the tricks, I want to see you guys spinning. So we'll do a 2-foot spin.
Yes.
Peter, do you want to demonstrate?
I'm a little teapot.
Yes.
Okay.
So for that one, I do personally personally feel when you're new, putting your toe in and twisting your arms the opposite way. I never tell people which way to twist because everyone might like have a different preference.
Feel. Yeah.
Yeah. So you twist the opposite direction and then you use those arms to pull in. Off of your right, yes. Push off of your right, and then the arms really help you kind of get that little twist.
Little momentum.
Yeah, there you go. Yes, yes, that's
a little bit there. Okay.
Yeah, you want to give it a try?
All right. Where do you start with this leg?
So I like to put my toe in, and then you just leave it right next to your other leg.
Don't be shy. Come in center stage.
Yeah, come center stage. Yeah, twist your arms all the way to the right, and then you're gonna pull them in.
Ooh, on one foot too.
Woo!
Nice.
That was great.
Supposed to do 2 feet.
Woo! Yeah, you guys got it. Woo!
You gotta do the.
Yes, Michael.
You're gonna present.
Okay.
Twist under the arm and dip.
Nice.
Little flare.
So magic.
Oh my God. Keep it romantic.
Yes, present first.
Present, yes. Turn in.
Wrong. No, this way.
Is that, yeah?
Yeah.
Wait, who's leading?
Oh.
Excuse me.
No, I think we twisted. I was just going off what we thought. Okay.
Failure. All right, ready?
Okay. Present. Yeah! And on the hip, you're gonna lift your leg, and then you're gonna hit this position and spin.
Oh.
Yes, and yes.
Yes.
Wow. And
Wow.
then arm.
Wait.
And
You're gonna spin.
whichever way you.
How will I figure this out?
So while you have her in that position, because you have the weight here, try spinning over your left shoulder.
Yes.
And then.
Ready?
Yes.
And?
Bend the knee. Okay.
Oh. Whoa. Yes. Arm, this arm, and you're just gonna do a good cartwheel.
This is the most you've ever had. I don't know if we're ready for this one.
You can do it.
Have all the other couples got this?
Only one actually, but they
Y'all
did
believe in us like this?
Yes.
We do. I think you guys can do it. I think you're gonna shock yourself.
Brian Anthony Cole.
Alexis Lachey.
If you don't want to do it, you don't have to.
No.
No peer pressure here. Here on his like
Y'all got her legs right.
Yeah.
Stuck.
Yeah.
Just gonna stay as still as possible.
Yes,
Like
as
this.
straight.
Yes.
Yes.
So I keep hold his hands.
Yes.
You hold his. Yeah, you're gonna hold his there, about there. His wrists. Yeah. Okay, Peter, you're spotting,
I'm all
right?
good, ready to go.
Okay.
Jesus have mercy on me.
Is she putting
Lord have mercy.
this or is it just me?
It's just you.
How do you feel about it, Brian?
I'm praying.
Okay. Why don't you feel my way? Why don't you feel my way? Can you do that?
See you on the other side.
Oh my God.
You ready?
No, I'm gonna get it straight. I'm gonna do it.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
He's ready. He's got
Wait.
you.
I just need you to wait. Let's think about it. Are you good with my weight?
Figure it out mid-air.
You haven't been, in the gym tonight. I just want to make sure.
This is the gym.
That floor.
Oh
Yes.
my Lord, have mercy. Okay, all right.
Peter, you got
Okay.
me?
I got you.
Yeah.
1, 2.
All the way up.
We can do anything. I'm so strong.
Ryan and Alexis. One of our favorite things to ask our couples is, how did you meet?
The meet cute love story.
We've been asked this question a lot, and I would just like to say the first part of this does not sound great. It doesn't sound great. So
Disclaimers have to be made for sure.
disclaimers have to be made.
Don't judge her until about 2 minutes into my explanation of it.
Yes, you want to go
Okay.
ahead.
We're gonna have to shave down a long story. Essentially, my best friend was dating her best friend at the time. We met through that connection, and I was dating both of their best friends. So one of Lexi's best friends, I was actually dating when I met her.
I was not trying to take him at all.
Oh.
I was not. Was not trying
Let's just
to
make that clear.
Let's just make it clear.
It was a situation where we honestly barely paid attention to each other. I was like, oh, nice to meet you. Okay, cool. In fact, the first time that we met was not good at all.
Not good at all.
I
Didn't
actually
like him.
thought she was a bubbly, annoying girl, and I was in a bad mood that day. I had my hoodie on in the car. She came to the window. Hi, I've heard so much about you, brother. And I was like, who is this girl? And she thought I was like some emo, depressed, like jerk.
You just sitting
honestly.
here looking like Eminem.
So, long story short, fast forward, the girl and I didn't work out. In fact, she ended up cutting off every one of her friends in that entire friend group, except for Lexi. So they were still cool. She and I weren't together. All right, so I'm hanging out with the friend group still, though, and Lexi just happens to be there a lot. So we start to get to know each other, and eventually Lexi asked her, like, Brian's a really cool guy. Like, are you okay if we're just friends?
Like being around in the same vicinity, like because he's still around and he was around my other best friends and everything. And so I'm like,
we can't avoid each other.
We can't. I can't avoid him because he's here. And so I told him, I said, could it make sure that he's okay for me to be around him? I didn't talk to him. We didn't even have each other's numbers. Like I was actually talking to somebody else. I was like, I just want to be fair to my friend because she's dealing with a lot. She cut off all the rest of our friends. She only stayed with me. And so she said, yeah, no, that's fine. I'm
That's
over
a
it.
good friend. There's so many
looking
people.
out.
There's so many people who will like slide behind, be all
truly.
sneaky.
Look out for themselves.
So you're a good friend.
I thank you.
So
I
here's
just
the
want
problem.
the public to know. I'm like, no.
So here's the problem. Lexi was a great friend. That girl didn't know herself, or she was not being fully truthful, because 2 weeks later, Lexi got cut off.
Like, stop responding to my messages.
Done.
Stop talking to me. Just completely cut me off.
Wow.
I did the same thing. Like, nothing was happening. We didn't have each other's numbers. We were not even talking privately. I tried to be so safe because I really care about friendship. So I was like, and I'm still like that to this day. So I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? I was trying to show up at our house. Like, we need to talk.
Oh, wow.
Just went ghost.
Went ghost on me. To this day,
to this
we
day,
have
she has
not
not spoke.
talked.
Wow.
We have not talked.
Too bad. I've heard that before. Like, best friends, and they let a guy get in between them. But in this case, that didn't happen.
And we
she
still
didn't-
weren't interested in each other.
Right.
No.
At this
Yeah,
point,
that's
we
the
still didn't
wild
want, we weren't
part.
trying to date each other. We weren't even asking permission. Like, she's not asking permission to, like, hey, I kind of like this guy.
Yeah.
We're just like, is it cool that we're around each other? And then when she left the picture, we just became best friends. Like,
Yeah.
legitimately best
And it
friends.
wasn't like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting for this moment. It just naturally happened.
And you guys were pretty young too, right?
18.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we were 18.
Bebes.
And what's funny is that we were so like best friends. It was to the point where like we actually played like we were together with our friends to see how they would
We played
act.
a prank on them.
And
That we
he
got
put
together.
his arm around me, and I was like,
This is uncomfortable.
I was like, let's just try to get
We
through
were
this
so
prank.
stiff. We were playing the prank, and we were both like,
I was like,
I can't believe they actually fell for it.
they started crying.
Oh my gosh, really? Were
They
they
wanted
like
us together
in
so
support?
bad. Yeah.
They were in
Okay.
support, and we were like, wait, where is this coming from? They
Our
were like,
eyes
we've
got
been
big,
wanting
we're
this for
like-
so long. We were so shocked.
Wow.
We're like, we're just kidding. And then, honestly, to fast forward, she fell in love with me. And it just happened.
That's how I fell in love with you.
You said I love you first.
I did.
Oh,
That is true.
That's cute.
That is true.
Yeah.
I wasted no time saying I love you to Mariah. So.
Really?
I
Yeah.
can't see that. I just feel like that makes sense.
Peter gives off those vibes. Yeah.
He's like,
I'm feeling the feels.
That's it.
I love you now.
I'm a man in touch with his emotions.
how
are.
fast? How fast? did
How
you say it?
fast? Man.
It was still like a few months of
It was
us.
a couple
like,
months, but like the way I did it, it was Canadian Thanksgiving. We were celebrating in the States. And after dinner and everything, we went hung out, and I made this big show of it. I just kind of I looked her in the eye, took a deep breath, and say, "Will you be my girlfriend?"
Yeah.
I love
First
it.
of all,
so cute.
y'all were your 3 months is like a condensed 3 months. It's
Yeah.
more like a year relationally because you guys were together every day.
24/7.
Oh.
And you're surrounded by
Yes.
romantic skating. I'm sorry, but if you don't fall in love,
I
something's
feel
wrong
the
with
love.
you.
Well, see, we started dating first, but we didn't skate first.
Yeah, we didn't skate
skated
together.
after.
We
We
had
skated
different
after.
partners. So a lot of times people do think that we were like, oh, Mariah and Peter
Gazing into your eyes as we
skated
Right,
spin every
together.
day.
Yeah,
No.
that actually we
Wow.
only started started skating together because we wanted to stay together.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how that
fair.
happened.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
Love finds a way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
But back to you guys. So you guys played this prank, and then what
So
was the next? She fell in love with you, right?
She said, "Oh, this is who I'm supposed to be with."
that was not the case at all. We were both very spiritual. So we both, when we
Were?
I mean, we are very spiritual, but even then we were like, we just felt like we needed to take some time to deal with some of our own stuff and like really just work on ourselves spiritually. We both felt that at the same time. So even though we were kind of in this space of liking each other, we decided we need to take a break and then
And just not date yet.
not date yet. And if you were to ask our friends, they were like, y'all were dating, but we were not trying to.
We really thought we weren't dating, but
we put a
were
solid
doing
effort.
everything that a dating couple would do.
Right.
Yeah.
We were dating.
But I don't know if you want to share, but how you asked me to be your girlfriend was very, very nice.
I'll give a 2-minute spiel.
I was like, it's
Yes.
very spiel.
So I was intense, like as a romantic guy, right? So I wanted to do it up. It's like asking people to be their girlfriend now as an adult. I would be. It just doesn't seem like
right.
people take it as seriously.
They usually don't.
We're just
And-
looking out for that ring.
Yeah, they were waiting for the ring.
So I was big into like romantic gestures and all that. So essentially what I did was, I don't know if you guys know this, but every color rose represents something. So like a yellow rose represents friendship. White rose represents purity. Red is romantic. I think purple is royalty or something like that. So what I did was I bought a rose of each color, and I wrote a letter to her of how that definition applies to our relationship and our dynamic and what that means to me.
The yellow
So,
rose
like,
started with my parents. Yeah, my parents have a yellow rose and a card.
So every rose and letter I gave to someone that was significant in her life, and I placed those people at a place that meant something to us in our history. So like someone's at our favorite park, someone's at our house, someone's at the first coffee shop we had a date on, all these things. And so she essentially got to like walk through our history together, share that moment with people that she loved and were important to her, and read how I felt about her. And it culminated with the final rose was a red rose, which is the romantic side that we're now introducing into our relationship. And I came out, it was at my house, she came, there was like rose petals and lights and all this stuff. And I came out and was like, all right, will you be my girlfriend?
Ladies, if he wanted to, he could.
He is a good man, Savannah.
He's a good man. He's a good man, Savannah.
He really
Literally,
is.
somebody sounded the
That is
So-
amazing.
That's beautiful.
I was intense, yeah.
You are still.
You had to know though in that moment. Were you thinking like, he's the one? Like,
I
there's.
was like, oh, I'm marrying. No, I knew, and this is actually a conversation that we were having
is
recently
wild,
about
yeah.
the small things, is that Brian, this is when I personally knew that I wanted to marry this man, and if God let me, I'm going to. I was like, we went to the mall, I want to say a while ago. We were 18, 19. I don't know. But we went to the mall and we were just walking around, and I mentioned 2 things that I liked. And I promise you, I don't remember the day.
It's a cute jacket.
I don't remember like the things that I said, but I want to say it was like a month later, and he gave me those 2 things. And when I tell you, it wasn't like, oh, I really want this. It was just, I touched it. I touched these 2 things, and I was like, wow, this is really cute. I really want to get that one day. And he showed up like maybe a month later with those 2 things.
Wow.
And the fact that he paid attention that like to that detail, I was so shocked, and I was like, I'm gonna marry this man. I want to marry this man.
I have to know, how old were you guys at this
It
point?
was probably 19. We were just
19, 20.
Oh, and
Yeah.
that, you know what? There's so many people out there that I feel when they're looking for their person, they hear, like they're like, okay, it doesn't exist. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They think it
A
doesn't
lot of people
exist.
really feel that way.
Yeah.
It's sad.
And so you guys are proof that like genuinely it does exist. There are 19-year-old men that will do things like that for you.
Yeah.
And so, it's possible. So I think
Yeah.
that's a good.
I will say 2 things quickly to that is, number 1, I would not want to be dating out here in today's world.
Oh.
Facts.
I'm
It's
so
weird.
happy that I got
Jeez.
married a long time ago and made it through.
It seems like there's fish pee in the pool.
Dating is different today. But what I will also say on top of that is I think a lot of it has to do with the standard that you hold yourself and the person you're looking forward to.
Yes.
If you have a high standard, you will attract people that have a high standard. And you'll be able to easily spot people who aren't going to measure up to that. It's just you know how you want to be treated, and not anything that's unnecessary expectation or beyond what realistic expectations are. But like you want to have someone that will love you. You have someone that would pay attention to you. Like that's a standard that you can hold to yourself, and it will attract people who have that standard themselves.
And learning too, because I feel like I think sometimes people see like the things that Brian does for me on a day, like like opening doors and things like that. Some of that stuff had to be learned because I was a person that my dad always opened doors for me and stuff like that. So I was like,
Open my door.
I'll just be sitting here.
There was one time she was like, Brian, my dad is watching in the window. Open the door.
It was the first time he came picked me up. First time he came pick me up.
Good looking out.
Yeah, she cared.
First time he came pick me up, and my dad will like my dad is just a strong person, but he will look out the window to see what he's doing. And so I was like, Brian, I was getting graded that day. Open my door. And he was like, oh. But it's just certain things of just, whatever you want, whatever the type of man that you want, you kind of have to be open to just like seeing if this works in your relationship and have that kind of standard that, you should have.
So how did you guys get from, because the asking to be the girlfriend was just beautiful. Now I need to know proposal.
Everybody, this is
I gotta know. What did you do?
Man. So, all right, this is probably like, I'll give it 3 minutes for this one. Because I did go much bigger on the proposal.
Wow, okay,
so
I'm excited.
The proposal started with a precursor of, I'm dramatic, all right?
Yeah.
If y'all don't understand by now, I am dramatic. Weeks before I proposed, actually probably a month before I proposed, I orchestrated a fake fight with Lexi. Where
So first the fake dating, and now the fake fight.
All of it. Everything is
very creative.
Smoke and mirrors.
No wonder you guys are content creators.
It's a mental game at this point.
So I orchestrated a fake fight where she made a comment about marriage, and we were driving on the freeway. I stopped the car, like slowed down.
Well, first, you were like, he told me to get my nails done. He told me to get my nails done like a week before, like a couple of weeks before we were going on this date that he wanted me to prepare for. And he said to get my nails done, and he never cares. Like, my nails? I'm like, my nails.
So that made her go, she made a comment like, what, are you going to propose or something? And I didn't lit into her, but I was like, I paused the car. I was like, are you serious? You think we're ready for marriage? Like, are you kidding me? And inside, I'm cracking up because I'm like, this is terrible. I'm like, this is so mean. But I had to throw her off because I wanted this to be like a
he needed to get my mental.
That is such quick thinking.
Yeah.
Throwing her off.
Ladies, this is called gaslighting.
So we ended up, like, Lexi is all out legit upset. She is mad at me. She didn't even want to go on the date anymore. And that's when I realized I went too far, because this date was the proposal. She's like, I don't even want to go on this date with you. Like, we're not even happy. And I was like, oh, I've gone too far.
Yeah.
And so I had to like backtrack a little bit, do some light apologies, but all making sure that she was off the track. So
I was still heated.
So the day of our date, she got dressed in a really nice dress, all of this. I was not there to pick her up.
Brian was late.
I called her and I said, hey, babe, I need you to come out. She goes, you're not even going to come to the door? Oh. She was like heated at this point. Like, if I always come to the door and all that, right? So she walks. I finally get her to actually walk outside, and there's a limo for her.
We're like arguing. He's like, babe,
just
leave the door.
Out.
Just get out. I don't want to come out.
So she gets out. She sees the limo. I threw her off the trail so much that she thought this was an apology limo. Oh. She still didn't know she was getting proposed to. She thought this was just my way of saying I'm sorry. She gets in the limo. She thinks she's going to our favorite restaurant. It goes to our favorite park, which has two sides of the park. One side is like this beautiful pier that goes out into a lake. Okay. And on the pier, I did similar to what I did with the dating thing, but just more extravagant. I made it like an art gallery. I put up drapes all along the pier and like had tables with displays of things that meant something to us, gifts that were given that were like significant moments, her favorite drink and this and that, like different memories that we shared. And I wrote descriptions as if they were art pieces, like collector's items, of like rehearsing that moment, because I wanted her to, again, like relive now more intensely the entirety of our relationship that led from where we were to where we are, and have a moment by herself, because I had her family there on the other side of the park, but I wanted her to have a moment by herself to like really take in this moment that I'm about to get proposed to, like to digest that, feel all the emotions and be ready for it. So she gets back in the limo, goes around to the other side. I'm in like a suit. Her whole family's there. Got the ring on a pedestal and flowers, all of that. But what I did was I actually took the same color roses that I gave to her as my girlfriend. I put it at the base of the pedestal, so it was tying all the things that I did when we started back together.
Wow.
So it took a lot of thought and time, but it was worth it.
That's
Dude,
amazing.
I applaud you. Like the creativeness, your commitment. Alexis, I got to ask you, you didn't mention this earlier, but can you just tell the viewers and the listeners, where did you find Brian? On Amazon?
Prime
yeah.
shipping.
Look, baby, I think he sold out.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about.
But everybody asked me that. That is so funny. They're like, you know, the link says
His brother.
Red Beard. You know, I was like, and unfortunately, I have brothers on both sides. I have no sisters. Everybody was really hoping one of them would be free, and none of them are free. None of them are free.
Brother's getting married this week, so
My last bit is my brother. My brother on my side is getting married next year, so that was it.
Wow.
Four great guys, gone.
I'll take him.
But,
Sorry.
But jokes aside, like just your love story, like the meet cute, the proposal, everything, like for both of you, like, wow, congratulations.
Yeah,
Thank you,
very.
guys.
I appreciate
Very.
it. Thank you. He's pretty. He's pretty awesome.
That brings me to social media. How did you guys get to social media? Like, how did you get
Your
into
turn.
it?
Okay. So honestly, you know, we're probably those people that was like, I don't want to take that social media. You know, we actually wanted to start a group with just like a men and women group. We were newly married. I would say newly, young.
4 years in.
Yeah, 4 years in. We were kind of fresh. I feel like we were still like freshly married, and we wanted to be around other people that were like us in an interethnic relationship, or just in a relationship where we're just trying to figure it out, you know. And at the time, we were young adult ministers at our church, and we wanted to just build a community. And a lot of our friends were like, you should start a YouTube channel. You should, you know, just start kind of, you know, just sharing your hearts on there.
And we also wanted to talk about topics that people were at the time straying away from. People didn't want to talk about racial issues. People didn't want to talk about counseling and therapy. Like, I think those things are more like widespread, you know, acceptable or like commonplace to talk about now more than then. But at
When
the
did
time,
you guys get started?
4 or 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was, you know, we wanted to just be very open about our relationship, things that we struggled with from an interethnic perspective. And it was, I felt that we wanted to do that in a small group. And then our friends were like, you should start a YouTube. That was 2 years before we actually started.
Oh, okay.
So we were not really listening to them.
Yeah.
We didn't
We put
want to
that on
be
the
a
back
part
burner.
of we didn't
Yeah.
want to be a part of the trend until one day our friend, who is also a blogger, she said, okay, you want to talk to people and share your hearts. Well, how many people do you talk to about these topics a day? And I was like, you know, maybe 1 or 2 people. And she said, so even if it's, and this is how I think now, even if it's 20 people that we're talking to, that's we're changing and helping people more than we've helped on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And
If
so
you have 100 people all sitting in a room listening to what you have to say, in person, that seems like a lot. On social media, sometimes we downplay the effect of 100
Yes.
people even.
That's true.
Not to think of 1,000, 2,000 and it goes up, but like Lexi had a great mentality going into it of like, it's about the people and they're not just a follower, not just a number, right? It's about the community.
Yeah. And that honestly made me feel so much peace about starting social media. I talked to Brian about it, and Brian was nervous to get on camera at first.
Oh yeah.
I said, I don't want to be one of those people that's like dragging you through. I said, if you really want to do it, then we do it. If we don't, then we don't. And so we spent some time, we actually prayed about it because we didn't want us to go into like, we had no idea this made money. We had no idea this was a lucrative, business. At the time, we really just wanted to help people. And that's honestly still our forefront. Like, we just want to help. Yeah. And so we started, and we had no idea that we would be blowing up on YouTube at the time.
And then about, I don't know, few months later when we started YouTube, Lexi's like, oh, we should start an Instagram too. I'm like, why? I was like, why? Like, YouTube's fine. Like, we're making the videos. And I just trusted her, and she made that, and then that went up. And then TikTok came out, and I was like, isn't that a dancing app?
Right.
And
Everyone thought it was.
It actually was. Musically was first.
Yes.
And the reason why I actually had TikTok was because I was nannying girls, and I would be doing Musically with them.
Oh,
Yep.
And so I think same thing. I was like, if you want to, cool. And now that's our biggest platform. It's just like
That's amazing. And I feel like so many times when people have followings, they think that their followers, like, they don't genuinely care about them. They're like, oh, they have 300,000 followers. I mean, I'm just one of the number. And I feel like you guys really put an emphasis on community, and that's so important.
Thanks.
And I wonder, like, about your interracial relationship. That was something that you guys really wanted to, like, talk about when you said racial issues and things like that. What inspired you to talk about that? Like, did you guys have experiences that you were like, we need to talk about this? And, like, what were some of those experiences?
Yeah.
Trayvon Martin was a huge experience for us. That was a turning point in our relationship. That was like a make it or break it. Like, we were either gonna, it happened in a point where we had not yet maybe had the depth of conversation that we needed to have before we felt comfortable getting married. I have been around black people my entire life, went to church in a predominantly black church, had black friends and all of that. And I thought that because I was surrounded by the culture that I, like, understood what the struggle was. I understood what society has to say and everything. And I still did not deal with, and neither did any of my friends help me deal with, a lot of subconscious bias and different opinions that I still held in my heart that I didn't realize or even think about. Lexi was the only one bold enough to actually confront those things, because she's like, if we're doing this, I'm not doing this half. We're not going to try to figure this out during marriage when we have kids and you don't know what I go through and what my life experience is like. And we went at it, and Trayvon Martin, like, spurred a lot of that, because I was looking at it from one perspective. She brought a whole different perspective to that. And it forced me to confront this question of, if I accept what she's saying as truth, then I also have to accept the fact that for the last 20-something years, I have been doing and treating people wrong. I've been thinking about society wrong. I've been very biased in my own opinions. I've been prejudiced in different ways. So there's a lot of baggage that comes with admitting that I didn't know what I was talking about. So it's easier just for people to ignore that and say, no, that's not how it is. And
that's not me. I'm totally cool with everybody.
I love black,
but there's, like, some bias.
Yeah.
I have a black friend, right? Like,
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
Those comments are...
And so it forced us to confront those things. And I made the decision that I will deal with the shame and embarrassment and guilt of knowing I was wrong in the pursuit of being a better person, and in the pursuit of loving her, and the pursuit of wanting to understand and know that culture even better. And it changed just a trail of things that happened afterwards that led us to where we are today.
That's a great example for people who, because I'm sure there are people who are looking at situations that they're in, and it's a hard step to say, okay, well, maybe I have said some things in the past.
Yeah.
Maybe you're kind of going back through
Yes,
your head.
you go through your history of,
and
like,
you
oh
just-
my God.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Peter and I, for sure, we've had some conversations, or he'll say something like, and he's been saying it, before we met, probably for a long time, like, just like little
Didn't
one-off
think about
things.
it.
Didn't think about it, yeah.
Yeah. So I do feel like, especially for people who are in an interracial relationship, or who have friends that are, of another race, that they're like, I had no idea that this was even offensive, because in my household, we say this all the time, So
and you don't think about it until you're in somebody else's culture and community.
Yeah.
And there's times that, we would be around family, and, there was something that was said, and we have to have these conversations, but really digging in. Because one thing about us is that we're not just going to take what somebody says. We want to understand why that is bad. And so we have very in-depth conversations about it, and we have to talk through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, as a whole, with Brian's whole family,
my brothers, my parents, even her side of the family, like, we have had
so inspiring.
family-wide conversations
It was,
in depth.
I'm telling you, that was intense. And I will also say that that's not, it's not necessarily our duty as Black people to do that. You can make a choice to do that. And so I chose to do that for Brian and Brian's family because I love them. And it's not like they were super horrible, like they were completely racist.
No.
But it's just these underlining tones of like, I don't think you're realizing what you're saying, or it's subconscious that you don't think about it. And so now we have to talk about it.
Wow.
And it was very hard. Me and Brian's brother, we would clash. We love each other now, but we would clash.
And I realized
Heavy.
that there's a lot of my close friends that for years would talk about me and things that I said, jokes that I would make after I left the room, and would never correct me and didn't have the courage to say, hey, that's not cool and here's why. No one corrected me. There was just this, Brian is the guy who says some things that are not cool and whatever, but no one actually challenged those things. And so I just didn't know any better.
You couldn't correct yourself. You weren't
Didn't
able
even
to
know
get-
there was something to correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's something to be said too about like even finding the courage. Like I know, for example, me, like when I was on tour, I was in a makeup room with, let's say like 20, 25 people. And on the road, would say like 50 people. And a lot of the times in those makeup rooms, there would be conversations that were happening and it would make me uncomfortable.
Wow.
But even to have the courage to speak up and say, hey, this is not okay. Like that takes a lot of courage. So I commend you for even coming to like coming to Brian's family, because that's another thing. Like you know, you love him, you want to be with him. Then you like, if I say this, will this make an issue for us forever? Like, you know, like, so I think it's really amazing and a great example to people to know that like, if you speak up, this could be what it looks like in the future. It doesn't necessarily have to turn into a negative thing. It could be a positive.
I'm curious,
you
what would
come
they
with
say
love.
in the makeup rooms?
One of the shows that I was working for, my understudy was literally painting herself black, and like the whole idea of like
That was
watching
okay,
somebody, and I feel like at the time, it is slightly traumatizing. You don't think about it because I was young,
Oh my God.
but I remember like, you know, like watching her wash off her black skin, and I was like, this is not right. But
messed
like,
up.
do I have the
Wow.
courage to say like, why are we painting people?
Yeah.
You know,
You're
to
like,
be-
am I the crazy one
yeah,
here?
like, and when you're one in a room of, you know, say 50,
And everybody's not
25,
saying
nobody's
something.
saying anything.
Yeah.
And then it's just me. So it's like, and you don't want to be the problem. So,
Yeah.
you know, so you don't speak up. So those were some of the situations. I mean, there was a show that I was in where they named one of the steps in the show, not a number I was in, but I was there while it was being taught. Hands up, don't shoot.
That's unfortunate.
And you don't realize how much that is affecting us mentally.
Yeah, and
Like
you
that
just-
affects us so hard. Oh my gosh.
It does, and it's one of those things where, you know, that's why I'm saying like it's just so inspiring to hear that you were like able to speak up and say things. And I think as I kind of stepped away and outside of that world, only then was I able to like take a mental break, because for a long time I was pretty much around mostly white people who are
Wow.
I don't want to say completely uneducated, but just not around a lot of black people.
Yeah.
So for them, they didn't even think that it was offensive. So yeah, it's just like, it's very awesome to hear that you are able to be that person. And I also agree with you saying it's not always, you know, the black person's responsibility to speak up,
Absolutely.
but it's also, if you do, how positive of an outcome that can come from that. So
Oh
And
man.
before we move on, I did want to ask, because you were the one who instigated that with both your families. How did Brian's family take that?
yeah.
Like, was it as an invitation, or was it
As-
more like as defense? In defense, they were.
I will say Brian's mom and dad, I love them. Like, if you talk about if I were to share our relationship with, I don't even like calling them in-laws, because I really feel like she's like a second mom. Like she's absolutely amazing. And we've gone through some things with them when it has, you know, racial issues, but they are always very open.
They want to learn. They want to
wanna learn.
understand. They
That's
want to
great
be
to
better.
hear.
They want to make sure they
Amazing.
understand how to protect her, like all of those things.
Yes,
Yeah.
so they have worked very, very hard over the years.
My whole family has,
Yeah, I
to be
mean, they
honest.
went to a class of diversity just to understand more.
Wow.
So they have done so much. Brian's brothers, we had, and I love them. They're like my brothers. Like we grew up. You talking about 18?
Yeah.
We're 32.
Yeah.
So we grew up together at this point. But in the beginning, it was hard. It was hard.
I think there was more defensiveness from my brothers who were it's also the way we grew up. Like my
very
family
logical,
are very logical, very intelligent, and we debate hard.
Oh, okay.
So when it comes to things like this, it was even a challenge for them to understand and for me to understand this is not a debate. Like I'm not here to argue back and forth. Like this is my life that I'm trying to share with you, and I want you to value that and appreciate the emotions that are tied behind this. This isn't like a history debate of what happened and how that affected politics. This is like my life.
Your life, your family that you're starting.
Yes.
Yeah. And then it even took, I remember Lexi saying this when we were dating one time. She was like, you realize society will see your kids as black, right?
Yes.
That triggered a lot of
that too.
change in my own
It took
heart.
a huge,
Yeah.
that is the question I would never forget, because I was at work when I said it, and we were just arguing. We were just having a hard time. And I said that, and Brian just went quiet, and he went back and thought about it, and it was just like, whoa, like I need to
changed
really
everything
understand.
because it took it from debate to life.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my God, there's emotions tied behind this. There's lifestyle. And I started thinking like, do I have to be afraid for my kids? Like, and then there were so many other layers that I started to understand and see how this related to. And that's where we had to help my brothers get to. They got there. I mean, they're incredible. They are on
and
board.
they are on board. They fight for me. They fight for me more than I'm like, look, y'all, he just said this. No.
Now they're like,
no. We gonna say something. And especially like they also with my brothers, like they see my brothers don't play. And so they're like, they really want to be on the same level of protection. Like, you need me to walk with you? Like, I'm saying, no, I'm going to walk you over here because we don't know what kind of neighborhood. Like, they are very, very protective. So
That's great. I definitely feel like the being on the defense is such a common response. So it's one of those things where it's like, do I fight it or do I just let it go? So
day by day decision.
Day by day.
Person.
and also the seeing your kids as black, that's a conversation that I've also had with
I've had
Peter.
the same. Yeah.
And I just, you really have to, I don't think that's another thing. I really think it does not click unless you are a person of color, does not click that like, the half black kids, like, no, when they are walking down the street, it doesn't matter if they, how fair even sometimes, like, they're black,
If you can tell that they're black, if you can tell in any inkling that they are black, then that's how society would treat. We actually had a video.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, that we posted about this, and that was our most controversial video.
Really?
Ever.
I mean,
any of our videos.
you talk about, and I did not expect that because I would assume that in our household, we want to let our son and our daughter know that they are half black, half white. Society will see them as, different, but in this household, you will appreciate both sides. And that can be hard because our sides mesh in very negative ways a lot. But I want them to understand both. And when I tell
appreciate and value 50% of who you are, and not deny 50% of who you are, and only identify. And we understand that different kids may choose one. Some have. And that's their prerogative, right? But as far as how we will raise our kids, it's going to be, you will know that you are truly mixed, that there are two beautiful cultures that are coming together into one. We're going to throw out the bad of both, and we're going to take the good of both.
And not necessarily, because in my mind, I'm like, you're taking in all of this, all the negative and positives of these stories, because these stories are both of us.
Yes.
And so if it's going to take us to try to see that, but
People
outside of our house, they will view you as black.
People were
view you as
upset
black.
about that video.
Really? I think that's wild. But you know what? Who was upset?
Both.
Honestly, it was both.
Really?
It was both.
We were shocked.
So
Really?
I don't know if you guys have experienced this, and I'm curious because I've never asked another interethnic couple that is just like black woman, white guy.
Yeah.
And so, y'all know y'all white, but it's like,
I'm a European
I'm white.
I like to consider myself European caucus. I can blame out. But so what we've experienced, we've been on social media for 5 years at this point. At first, it was a lot of white people kind of coming for us. Had issues. Now we've seen this transition after the Trayvon Martin. After this, it's been a lot of racial what is the word, like tension that's been going on in our world.
And also black empowerment at the same time.
And black empowerment, a lot of more black empowerment. And it was a shift in our social media where we started to get a lot more attacked by black people throughout, I would say, our recent
People
time.
are mad at her for betraying the black
Oh.
culture.
We've seen that. We've heard that a few times.
People saying like, you can't speak for us because you're with, the
white
blah,
man.
blah, blah,
That
blah.
Yeah.
one is so hard for me because I feel like I have you have done an amazing job, like with, getting Brian to basically know that he's not going to understand, but he is going to try his best
Yes.
to see your point of view or, basically be in your corner. And I feel like one of the hardest things is that someone will say, well, you're not black enough because your husband
That's it.
is white. And I'm like, why?
How does that
doesn't
change
make
me?
yeah that doesn't change me. That doesn't change my life experiences. This is who I fell in love with. This is who appreciated me. This is who is treating me like a queen. Like, why aren't we just happy to see a black woman being loved?
Just
be
being
loved.
happy. Doesn't matter.
Just loved.
Instead of saying some stupid thing like, "Oh, she married her oppressor" or something.
Yes.
Oh,
we get all
the
of that.
time.
Yes.
Here's the thing, and this is just the way that I think is that I am very empathetic over the struggle of identity when it comes to us as black people, that we try we lost our identity, when it came to slavery. And so there's a lot of different opinions of who we are because we had to try to figure it out in this world that does not appreciate us, right? And so when it comes to us being with someone that is of a different race, and especially, you are considered the majority, I think that there's a level of understanding because there are people. Do we not get the comments of like, I need to find me a white man because these black people out here. And so I always try to correct them.
I was always curious. Do you guys get that too?
Oh my, yeah. I started to laugh. I mean, it's not funny, but it is. 'Cause I'm like, it doesn't really. It just like, it's the person. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's the
But they're
person. I
looking
did
for a
not-
white
They,
man.
Yes.
because they think that
Show
white
me.
men appreciate black women more. There's people have whole theories about this stuff, and so I try to correct them in the sense of like, I have two black amazing brothers that treat their women like queens. That's how you were. That's how we were taught, and so I try to correct that. But the problem is that they don't know our stories. They don't know who we are.
Yeah.
They just see us with this white man, and we constantly get these messages of, well, I'm going to be under our comments. I'm going to be with the white man. I need to be with the white man because these black men are trash. And so they don't know us. They don't know our history. And so we have these people coming in. We're trying to present who we are, and then we have these other people that think that we're, marrying the oppressors. There's
Selling
so
out.
many identities.
Yes.
There's so many personalities in the way that people think coming in. And at this point, all I can do is just show you who I am. I can't fight. I can't keep fighting it, but I can tell you that I empathize with you and I understand why you feel the way you feel. It's hurtful. You probably think that I did give up because I'm with a white person.
Yeah.
Slavery was real. You're probably hurt. It's painful. There's trauma behind that. So I try to be understanding, but also it's an eye roll still. But
It is. It's wild to me to see people leave the comments like, I need to be with a white man. I need to, like I think that they do it because they think that maybe it's better. And that's the thing. It's like, it's not necessarily better. It's how the man that you marry was raised.
yes,
And that is like, they could be black, blue, purple, but if they were raised in a way to treat women with
Yes.
respect, they're gonna treat you with respect.
Yes.
So I do think that it's so important to talk about the fact that it doesn't matter where they're from. And I think a lot of people, and I tell this to people too, instead of trying to like, I need to marry a white man, how about I'm looking for somebody who treats me well.
Find a
I want
good
a respect.
I
I
wanna
want a
find good-
respectable man.
Yes. And I feel like, but then when I think like the hate or I would say negativity that you get from black people, I think those, to me, I see a lot of the time, that's a very closed off mentality too.
Absolutely.
It's like, I can only date someone who's black. And I'm like, well, your person might be Indian. You know what I mean? Your
don't know.
person might be, they might be in Europe somewhere, you know,
Yeah.
like you just don't know.
I get on both. Oh, what are you gonna say?
I was probably gonna say what you're about to say. We both feel that it is understandable why people stay within their ethnicity when they're
yeah.
as a couple. It's easier. It
It's
just
easier.
is. There's less drama that comes with society. There's less, cultural differences you have to rectify and understand. Like, it is easier. That is a dynamic.
Easier in the sense of like having these conversations that we're having now.
Yeah, from
you
this
know,
perspective.
I feel like everybody has problems, but it is they don't have to deal with the different cultures. And I think not to say it's okay, but
it's understandable.
I empathize.
Yeah, we empathize with it, and that's just. But we were open to whoever I find that I love.
The people that have like, they'll DM and they're like, I'm so confused, I'm trying to figure out what is right for me, and I really genuinely tell them, like, you have to, like, basically it starts inward, like, what am I okay with, what am I okay with dealing with on a regular basis, and then you can kind of like make those decisions. And if you're open, be open, like it might surprise you. So I think it's really great that you guys are sharing that with people. And thank you guys so much. I feel like we have had such a great conversation that has
I'm about to say we were just kind of flowing there.
I was gonna say, I don't know if you had something else, but we
went
on a rabbit trail. It was okay.
I just wanted to say, like, before we started this, you mentioned how whenever you sit down with couples or anybody, it's deep conversation.
Oh, yeah.
This was deep.
Why is it always turn deep? We can't just laugh.
You know what, though?
That's funny.
I love that this episode is going to get our audience thinking. We do have a lot of people who, you know, our audience, your audience is people who look for these answers, who've had these questions when they've been following us, and they don't really get to hear. 1 minute's not enough to be like talking about all of these different things. So I think it's great that we went into a deep, cool conversation.
Real deep.
Someone
cool
tell a joke just so we can let them know we're funny.
I know. Do you have a joke?
What's your dad joke? What's your best dad joke?
Oh my God. Have you heard the broken pencil joke?
Have not.
No.
Never mind. It's pointless.
Thank you guys again. We have had so much fun talking to you guys.
Best time.
Awesome.
Such a good conversation. All right, guys. That is it for today.
Bye.